Greetings. Greetings. I had to bring some of this in. This has been my anthem song for this particular episode. Definitely. Greetings, greetings, greetings. I know it's been forever. And y'all wasn't supposed to see me live. Y'all were not supposed to be seeing me live. That was not supposed to be the case today, but it's okay if you are because, oh my goodness, let me tell y'all something. First of all, for those of you who never go live on social media or any platform, I don't know if you know the level of connectedness you have to have energy wise. And I kid you not, I had all plans and purposes. My plans and purposes, let me clear this up. My plans and purposes was to be able to do pre-records. And I thought I was going to be able to do pre-records, and I thought I had it down pat and everything, right? But every time, I kid y'all not, every time I went to go and do a pre-record, it turned into about 5 or 6 cuts. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this. And the energy of it all, I was just lost in it. So I was kind of thinking, maybe that's not really what God wanted me to do. So we're back live, okay? For our little hiatus, we're back live, and I'm excited about today's show. I'm super excited about today's episode. So I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and please share this podcast. And we're going to get into the preliminaries. So I want to say greetings to you, you beautiful soul. My name is Sister Femi of Chronicles of a Broken Churchgirl, where faith meets healing, purpose, and a whole lot of real talk. Okay? A whole lot of real talk. So we're here today at episode 13, okay? So episode 13 is entitled Marked by Purpose. I was really encouraged to do this particular episode only because since I did my rites of passage, I want to say since 2021, 2022, I have been wearing my ancestral markings and my divine markings, as you can see. They are not scarification, but they are in honor of scarification, if you will. So I just want to go into, I attend a Baptist church. I'm a Baptist church minister. I work for a Baptist church, an AKA Christian environment. And a lot of times what has happened with these various markings and things of that sort, the looks I get, it's some are, I want to say, I go through a few different looks and I can't name them all because I haven't asked anyone, you know what I mean? But a few of the looks I get are like, well, what is this supposed to represent? Or why does she have that on her face? And oh my God, is she into a cult? Or, I can't, these are the things I see on people's faces, okay? That is not necessarily what's in their minds. But for those people who ask me, I explain them to them as to why I wear them, all right? But I wanted to, because this is Chronicles of a Broken Church Girl, and we're talking about healing, I was able to come into and embark onto this part of my journey through my whole makeup, through the whole memory of my ancestors and understanding where I come from. And, it's funny, in a day and an age where I can say this because we know it to be true, they're trying to erase us. I mean, before they tried to erase us, but now they're really trying to erase our history when we are the story. Okay? We are the story. So because we are the story, we have to, I guess you can say, reconnect with where we came from as we understand where it is we're being carried towards. Okay? So I want to do just a brief little history of, please don't leave too fast and stick around for our tea time because I have some, although I'm not a herbalist yet, I'm not a certified herbalist yet, nor doctor, and you need to check with your doctor before you do our tea times. I want you to know that I have some tea combination that's to help for clarity and memory and understanding, okay? So a brief history of the African tribal markings, because that's what they're called, African tribal markings. They constitute identity, belonging, and beauty. Okay, so let's take a moment to travel back through history, what it was. And I personally have done my DNA testing to understand the tribes that I come from, that my lineage comes down from, so I understand my connection to the African diaspora, if you will. Okay, so thinking of the African markings, these took place back in history, back in the tribes, where they represented so many various different things, so many various different undertakings. Okay, and for many communities, they marked belonging to a tribe. They marked sacred symbols. They were sacred symbols. They also came with family time. It was like walking around with your family story on your face. You know what I mean? You're walking around, and that brings a certain level of knowing who you are, as well as understanding whose you are, right? And this was way back before there was any of that slave trading and all of those different things going on. So the tribal markings identified the tribe that you were with, the family that you belong to, whether or not you were royalty, your wealth status, your social status, your warrior status, if you will. It also represented your spirit, and it also represented spiritual protection in various ways. Okay. In West Africa, they dealt with a lot of scarification, which is viewed, oh my God, I don't know if you've ever saw them or witnessed what scarification is. It's not the makeup, it's to the actual skin. And this was considered a very beautiful tradition for them to be able to go through, very noble, if you will, right? Now, due to colonialism, a lot of that was looked at as disparaging, as demonic, as, how could I say, wanting to disconnect us from where we truly belonged and who we truly belong to, and understanding who we truly are. Because again, if you know who you are, no one can guide you into a different direction. But if they cut off your knowledge of understanding who you are as well as whose you are, you tend to lose power. You tend to lose the power as to who God created you to be and who He wants you to become, right? So during the colonial era, a lot of our tradition was lost. A lot of this was lost. But to restore cultural pride and spiritual identity is why I wear my tribal markings, and I wear them in paint, because God only knows, if I had an opportunity to go to Africa, I may end up with some scarification, okay? But because I am here, and I have to represent the way that my heart is led to represent, as opposed to the scarring on my face. I do have my tats, but I know in Leviticus in the Bible it says you ain't supposed to do that. Yet, and again, I did this in representation and understanding as to who I am in God, okay? So along the same applies to my markings on my face. I do my markings in correlation of understanding who my ancestors are, the tribes that I came from, because there are two different tribes that my DNA has stemmed from directly, as well as my divinity. I have my markings because it represents my divinity, and understanding that so long as I dwell in God, God continues to dwell in me. So I walk as a divine being. I'm a spirit having a natural experience. In this flesh is natural, but I'm a spirit woman having a natural experience in this flesh. So my markings represent my spirituality, my understanding where God has brought me, what He's carrying me through, and where He is taking me. So I have my various levels and understanding as to the connection for myself. Okay? Alexa, pause. So before we judge the markings, okay, I want to say, before we judge the markings, let's understand the meaning behind it, because sometimes what the world sees as a scar or my markings or makeup, God sees as my signature. Okay, I walk with that. I walk in that knowledge. I walk in the confidence of that. I walk in the understanding of my connectedness with God through this as well from my heart, because we know it's about God seeing our heart, right? Okay, so the renewed interest in this, because you might see it more now than you've seen it in the day. And the 70s brought it to life. You know, the 60s and the 70s brought it to life. And then we had our various eras, and then you have the culture community. And then you're seeing it more now where you're seeing the sacred community as well. It's coming out more now and grasping and reconnecting with our lineage, with our ancestral lineage, with our tribal lineage, and representing our African diaspora connectedness, if you will, right? So we're reclaiming our culture. We're reclaiming who we are as an African people, as a tribe, as a group of strong-minded individuals who we are divinely unified unto God, all right? So it speaks to who we belong to, okay? It speaks to our purpose, and it definitely speaks to our divine design, okay? Our divine design. So with that, you know, I think about the pre-colonial, again, the societies, these were revered. These were respected. They were, you know, and I mean, it's funny for me because we've always heard, or we hear every so often, children and animals, when they kind of magnet towards you, there's a purity about your spirit. And what I love is that I wear my tribal markings, not because I need to tell anyone anything. This is a reminder for me, because when I look in the mirror, when I understand and I'm walking in my divinity and I'm walking in my understanding of who I am, it reminds me, excuse me, it reminds me of who I belong to, who I represent, and how I'm to walk. And what I love, I kid you not, the kids, the children stop and they look at me and they try to understand, but they can see that there is a purity. It's almost as though they can see my heart through my markings, which I'm genuinely appreciative of, only because I realize that, you know, I don't mind when adults ask me. I don't mind when adults ask me what they are, especially people who know me. People who know me and have known and seen me go through my transition. I don't mind when people ask me, because I have no problem answering. And it's funny because when I answer people, I'm not giving a regurgitated answer. I'm giving the answer that is true. I'm giving the answer that is pure, and I'm giving the answer that is positive and honest. So it definitely for each answer, every time I give it, it is the same answer, but it is not always given the same way. And that's something that I can appreciate, because I wear mine. A lot of times when I wear my dots are representing ancestors, particular ancestors, not just random, because not all of our ancestors were good. Not all of our ancestors were somebody we want to walk in their shoes. You understand what I'm saying to you? And for me, each one that I wear, I have named. Each one that I've marked, I've named. So when I put mine on, I call out that ancestor that it represents for me. Okay? Because again, not every ancestor, you're not supposed to be trying to represent every ancestor, because every ancestor wasn't, I'm sorry. Let's keep it 1,000. Every ancestor was not pure at heart. Okay? And so for us, when we do this, it allows us to feel and remember and be connected, continue to be connected, okay? Continue to be connected, because I don't know if you understand how powerful and how encouraging it is to know that you come from a lineage of power, that you come from a lineage of wholesomeness and purity, and that you walk with a divine nature, and that you walk with a divine God that dwells within you, that's ordering your steps, that's showing you the pathways that you want to go on a daily basis. Because I don't know if you know it or not, but I don't always wake up with directions and instructions on how to handle my day. And as the day comes, I know the one thing I can do is I can pray, I can talk, I can commune, I can meditate, I can stop and be quiet and listen and be still and understand who God is and know that he knows my heart is searching. My heart is searching for some instructions. My heart is searching for some directions as to what to do, how to do it, how to go about doing it, right? So I thank God for that opportunity. I, again, went through my transition. I went through a rites of passage, which is what allowed me to become reconnected to understanding the importance of this for me. Now, I don't always have my markings on, but I want to tell you 3 out of 4 times I do. 3 out of 4 times I do, because I always want to walk in the right spirit. I always want to walk in a pure and joyous spirit. I want to walk with a beautiful energy that wants other people. You know, we have this saying in church where, you know, we have this prayer that goes, you know, Lord, let me do something, or let something in this service be something that makes somebody want to know what it is they need to do to be saved, right? For me, it's more so about, let me walk in a manner. Let me walk in a way. Let me speak in a way. Let me treat people in a way that will want to know, well, how can I try to live a decent life? How can I try to get reconnected to my lineage? I want people to understand who they are and where they come from. You understand what I'm saying to you? So that's one of the things. Now, the other thing is the emotional part of it all. Okay? The emotional. I want to talk about the emotional part of it all. Sometimes the scars we carry. Thank you so much for liking. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, like, share this podcast. Let me do that quick plug before I go into this next little portion segment, if you will. Sometimes the scars we carry are not visible. Okay? Sometimes the scars that we carry are not visible. And I know me, I'm somebody who likes to stay perky, happy, and all of that good stuff. So sometimes people may not be able to see the things that I've been through or the things that I'm currently going through, right? But those scars still nonetheless tell a story, right? They tell a story. So I, for one, love it when people ask me, because I don't mind telling the story. I don't mind telling my story. I have various stories I can tell. I've got stories, oh my God. I mean, I literally have sat down and broken down the chapters of my life and titled out the stories to understand what I went through those various chapters of my life, right? Emotionally speaking, I've gone through a lot of pain, but in that painful times of my life, I've gone through lessons, growing pains, and then I've come out on the other side with a joy that allows me to be able to understand that I'm walking in love. I'm walking in a pureness of heart that I'm trying. I'm not perfect by any means or any measures. Yet I know that so long as I walk in the will of God is for me to have a pure heart, to be able to move in a pure heart, in a pure way, right? So for that, no matter what I've been through, I will always try to see the good. From domestic violence to almost being murdered 3 times, to bad relationships, to bad sexual experiences, to bad traumatic experiences growing up as a child. I mean, through it all, there has been, right on down to losing my oven maker, my bread maker, my bun maker, what we call our uterus, right? Hysterectomy, a whole 9 yards. I can find the joy in all of it. I can find the peace in all of it. Even going into the stages of a mature woman who no longer has the ability to even procreate, to manifest, to procreate a child. I can even still, hot flashes, I can find the joy in that. Y'all won't even understand. Have a conversation with me about my hot flashes and I will have you in tears, okay? Because we will be laughing. Believe that when I tell you that, because life is just too short. In terms of the physical nature of life is too short, that we should be bogged down by a sadness, by broken spirits, by broken hearts, by broken emotions, okay? Now I'm going to tell y'all, I'm waiting on a delivery, okay? Now this was something, I'm trying to find the joy in this, okay? I'll tell you that in a minute. But I kid you not, if you hear my bell, I'm going to have to go and run and grab that, right? But for the scars and due to the scars, with the scars, we got to find the joy in our scars, because some people didn't even make it to be able to get to those scars. Some people can't even survive through the things that we have actually made it through. And we have to find the joy in that. We have to find the happiness in that. We have to understand that we didn't go through those things for naught, for nothing. We went through them not only for ourselves, but maybe to lift somebody else up. Maybe to pick somebody else up while they're going through maybe something similar, something that they feel may want to break them. And so a lot of times with the tribal markings, and I'm going to bring it back to the tribal markings, because these are my engravings. These are my engravings. Isaiah 49:16 says, "See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands." Right? That means that God has marked us. Okay, he has marked us in love and the covenant that we have with him. The linkage, the covenant, meaning the contract that we have with him. Okay, so with that, we want to move in a way, in an understanding that it's not about idolatry, it's about identity. This is not about idolatry. I am not idolizing my ancestors. I am not idolizing my ancestors. I am walking in my identity as to who I am. Okay? And anyone else you see, they should be walking in their identity. Now, I can't vouch for everyone. I can only vouch for me and mine. Me, mine, and those that I know. Okay? I can only vouch for us, because I'm not I don't idolize anyone. I'm walking with God. That's who I walk with. Okay? So in that, you want to understand that for me, I am reflecting my spiritual identity. Okay, that's what I'm doing. All right. So it's beyond what a lot of people will call witchcraft and demonic behavior and all of that nonsense. That has absolutely nothing to do with me. And quiet as it's kept, I'll go Peter on you if you ever come to me sideways like that, just because that's who I am. I represent a living God. Okay, I represent Elohim. Okay, that's who I represent. Jehovah Jireh. All right, Jehovah Sikkenu. Okay, and let's run down the 21 names. That's who I represent, and that's all I represent. Yet I do walk in understanding who I am from my lineage. Okay, from my lineage. All right. So you may not, or I may not have literal scarification, tribal markings on our faces, right? But you got spiritual ones. You've got testaments. You've got understanding as to how you walk the way you walk, how God has carried you through the things he's carried you through, how you may even be going through something right now and you're still trusting him and walking by faith and knowing that your prayer is going to change some things. Sometimes you may not feel like he hears you, but you know you have had some answered prayers in your life. So stand strong in that and know that for what it is. Okay? You have those scars on surviving. Yes, 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 yes. Okay? So in that, don't be so concerned about the tribal markings, because my markings have a purpose. As the title of this episode is called, Marked by Purpose. Marked by purpose. My markings have a purpose, as well as my walk with God, as well as your walk with God should have a purpose, right? And these are my cultural expressions as to that walk. All right, as to that walk. What I wanted to do now, I am going to share, personally, I'm going to share that my tribe, the two tribes that I stem from, are the Yoruba tribe of Nigeria. And funny enough, I also stem from the Benin tribe, which is also entitled current modern day Dahomey. And I thought that was so genuinely intriguing for me, and I'm still studying. I'm still doing some studying on that, because one of my favorite work movies is The Woman King. I knew that I was part of the Yoruba tribe when I got named because of my name. All right, because of my name. My grandmother named me. She'd already done the work, so I knew that part. Yet when I did my DNA testing, I found out about the Benin side of it all, and being 23% Dahomey. And it's funny because when The Woman King came out, my girlfriend saw the movie first, and she said to me, "Oh my God, girl, you got to see this movie. When I saw it, it reminded me of you," and blah, 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 blah. And I thought it was so amazing when she said that. I was like, okay, I'll see it. I'll watch it. Okay. And when I watched it, when I tell you, I know that it is a slight depiction of that time, that tribe, and that era. Yet in that, it also explained to me the level of my, what's the word I'm looking for, Holy Spirit? My fortitude. My fortitude, the warrior spirit that I have about me, willing to press forward, willing to press on, willing not to be knocked down by anything weak, if you will, willing to move forward. All right. And I thought that was so really cool. I thought that was cool. I don't know about you, but you need to find out about your DNA so you can understand how your life is cool and where you come from. Because there has been African sayings and proverbs that talk about knowing where you're going. How can you know where you're going if you don't know where you've come from, or what you come from, or who you come from, right? So I wanted to just share that little bit because that really encouraged me. It encouraged me. And while I'm being encouraged, I want to encourage you. Okay. So I would say to you, I would like to say to you to please, if you can, at some point, try to see about your own DNA. Try to see where you come from. Try to see where you stem from. Because it's important. It is very, very important. Okay. So I am going to, let's see, the last bit, my truths and my connection. My Yoruba tribe, one of the largest, I'm reading this because I wrote this note down and I didn't want to forget it. Okay. 33% Yoruba tribe, one of the largest ethnic groups in West Africa, primarily in Nigeria, okay, has a rich tradition of tribal markings known as Ila in Yoruba, right? These markings vary by region, family, status, and spiritual belief, and they were historically used for identification, cultural pride, beautification, and protection. Okay, I wanted to read that to y'all because I just really wanted to wrap it up in a nutshell, if you will. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to tell y'all after I do my tea time. So don't go anywhere. After I do my tea time, I'm going to tell you what two of the markings represent and what they stand for. Okay, I'm only going to tell you two because I'm still doing my work on it. And not only am I still doing my work on it, I may even do a write-up. and make that available, just because it's something that I think a lot of people take lightly, where they shouldn't. They should really take it a little bit more to depth and really more to heart. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is my disclaimer statement. I am not a certified herbalist yet. So these teas that I'm recommending to you, please make sure that you talk to your profession, your medical profession, your doctors, your nurses, and so on and so forth, and make sure they're okay for you, because I don't know if you're taking medication or whatever the case may be, but that is my disclaimer statement. So you take them at your own, but I know they work for me. Okay. So as this is tea time, let's take a quick tea break, because your girl believes in healing, and I do. I believe in healing through teas. I do believe in healing through teas and not doing so much processed foods. Okay. All right. So the herbs for this episode, my featured herbs are ginkgo biloba. Okay. Ginkgo biloba. And that improves your blood flow to your brain and boosts your memory. Okay. Then there's gotu kola, which is a Ayurvedic herb for mental fatigue and memory. Then there's rosemary, which is a symbol of remembrance, improves alertness and focus. Peppermint, which uplifts your mood and sharpens the mind, okay? And holy basil, which reduces stress and clears mental fog. Now, I am coming out with a menopause herbal tea book. So just know I'm coming out with one, and I'm going to be sharing that in a few days. I'm releasing it before the weekend. I just want to let you know that. That's a slight little plug, okay? Let's see. So what you do with this, the tea blend I would say use is your rosemary, peppermint, and ginkgo, right? And steep it in hot water for about, I want to say 7 or so minutes, okay? Boil your water first, then drop your teas, add your sweeteners. I use honey or stevia or monk fruit. I don't use white sugar. White sugar is worse than cocaine, okay? So I do not recommend, nor do I ever tell anybody to use white sugar, okay? And as you make your tea, and as you finish steeping it and you sit, I always like to sit and meditate with my teas, okay? And as you're sipping and you're meditating, sip on and think about where you come from and what God has brought you through, okay? Think about the steps that God has brought you through, and speak over yourself. Speak life over yourself. Speak affirmations of love and of identifying who you are and your pureness of heart and understanding who you are. I'm going to give you a couple of affirmations that you can say. I am marked with purpose. I am not what happened to me. I am who God says I am. Those are some affirmations that I love. Okay? Because when I tell you, oh my goodness, the affirmations come in and out of my ears, honey. Trust me, I do. I love my affirmations because the God that I serve is one who is not one of confusion, but one of clarity and a sound mind. Okay, one of clarity and a sound mind. And that's why I love these teas, because that's what they're enhancing. He created these teas. These teas were created for these types of healing. All of our healing can be found in our kitchen if we just load our kitchen up with the right stuff. Okay, so for that, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you as you go forward and as you leave from this podcast, come back, replay it, share it with somebody that you might think might need this podcast. I want to say thank you for being here with me. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and following. Okay. And I will be back on here on a weekly basis, and things are going to change. It's going to be weekly. It don't matter where I might be, because I might not be sitting here with this pretty little curtain behind me, but I will be here on a regular basis because live is what I got to do. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Live is what it is, which I don't mind. I absolutely love going live. I just actually thought God wanted me to do something a little different, or I was trying to do something a little different. Let me put it like that. Okay. So what I would say is, don't let your trauma leave bad marks on you. Let your victory stances leave those beautiful marks on you. Okay? Let how you've come out of those things, that beautification period, okay? Let that be what marks on you. All right? Let that be the mark that's left on you. All right? So now I want to talk about some of the actual markings. I'm only going to talk about 2 before I get out of here, all right? I'm only going to talk about 2, and I'm going to talk about 1 from each tribe, okay? 1 from the Yoruba tribe and 1 from Dahomey, okay? All right. So anytime you see where I have done the, I want to say either thin stripes or the multiple slashes. I did the multiple slashes so I could show them to you, but envision somebody who actually had the multiple scar slashes on their face, right? That represented, all right, and it was always on each cheek, sometimes long, deep, or curved or carved, okay? That meant that it was signified a clan or the ancestral origin, okay? So you would see them have this. That means it represents a particular clan that they came from, a particular lineage through the tribe, if you will, right? Now, the other ones that you might see me that I love, I absolutely love my dots. I do love my round dots. I love my dot patterns. I love my circular patterns, okay? And they symbolize divine sight and spiritual speech, okay? So anytime when you see me with my dots on and you see me with them under here, that's me. This one always represents me. But this is so that I can have, I want to think like God. I don't want to be God. I just want to have the mind of God. I don't want to have the little pea brain that we're stuck with in this skull. I want to have a divine mind. I want to be, I want to think outside of what my vision sees. Okay. So I love the dots because of that. Okay. So you'll see them around. I'll put them around my eyes. I'll put them under my eyes. I'll wear them down my nose. I'll wear them around. I'll do whatever I choose to on that given day, however the Spirit moves me to do so. Okay? But that's what those mean for me. That means this is all about my spirituality and trying to think and move divinely. Okay, it's very important for me because I realize when I'm not doing that, I'm leading myself right into a trap. I'm not gonna lie to you. Do I think that I don't have enough sense? Of course, I know I have enough sense. I have enough sense to turn to God who dwells within me as I dwell within him. Okay, that is for me. Okay, that's how I see it. That's how I live, and that's what I believe. Okay. So I just want to say thank you for joining me for this podcast today. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you subscribing. I hope that you have heard something today that makes you even want to figure out who you are in your own tribe, in your own lineage, in who you are in your DNA. Okay, I'm hoping I said something that makes you want to be able to move in such a way. All right, because we all have a purpose. If you are given another day, you are given a purpose. You have a purpose. You have a purpose, and you need to know what your purpose is so that you can move in it. Okay, so that you can move in it, so that you can be all that God called you to be. Okay, but you need to know who you are in order to do that. You know, if you weren't, you know, I know one of the people that I find to be who definitely always look for who they are and where they come from are people who've been adopted. They go hard body for it when they really want to be diligent about knowing where they come from. And that's just trying to find a mother and a father. We need to be just that diligent in understanding where we come from through the lineage that we have been birthed, because there are so many, oh my God, there's like a gazillion great grandmothers and great grandfathers behind us that we come from, and we don't take the time to really understand how serious that is for us to be able to find out so that we can take those next steps possible the way that we should be able to, in a good and clear manner, Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you all. This was really fun. I came on here because I wanted to answer. There was a question from a very special lady, and she asked, she mentioned it to her son, who happens to be my friend. And I was like, oh, well, thank you for my next podcast topic. Because I was like, oh, that's good. Because I never mind when people ask me. A lot of people don't, but I never mind when they do. I never mind when they do, because I love to share it. I love to share it. Sharing, as they say, sharing is caring. And I do. I care. I care about people. I don't care about what people say about me, but I care about people. If that makes sense. Okay, so I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, make sure you hit that bell so you get the notifications for when I go live. Okay. And again, if today's episode spoke to your spirit, please share this with a sister. And if you want that memory boosting tea recipe, it's going to be in the show notes. It will be in the show notes, because as soon as I finish off of here, I'm going to put them show notes in there, because I try not to forget, because honey knows if I walk away, I'm going to forget. And I don't want to forget. Okay. I want to share them with you. All right. And let's see. What I could ask you to do is to reflect on something. I have a question for you. What are the invisible markings you carry, and how can you begin to see them through God's eyes? That is my question for you. That is something for you to marinate on, for you to walk with and marinate on. Okay? I want you to be able to answer that question for yourself. Okay? What are the invisible markings you carry, right? And how can you begin to see them through God's eyes? All right. That is my question for you. That's your homework till next week. All right, so thank you for joining me, Sister Femi, your Chronicles of a Broken Church Girl. Okay, I had an amazing time with you today. I hope you enjoyed my episode 13. Okay, and we're going to continue this. We're going to continue this march. I'm not going to try to do this thing my way because, like I said, them pre-records was wearing me out. I need to be live. All right, so you all continue to be amazing in all that you do and all that you offer the world. Okay, bye everybody. I'll see you later.